In 1940-85, German paratroopers accomplished the seemingly impossible, capturing a fortress defended by 200 soldiers. This daring raid was the brainchild of Kurt Student, Hitler's paratrooper general, a pioneer of airborne warfare whose innovations permanently altered modern combat. But like many of Hitler's generals, Student's story is a complex tapestry woven with threads of strategic brilliance, devastating operational failures, and profound moral compromises. Born on May 12, 1890, Kurt Student began his military career in the Prussian army in 1910, the First World War was his crucible, where he quickly found his calling not on the ground, but in the air, transferring to the Imperial German Air Service. A natural and decorated pilot, Student flew reconnaissance missions before transitioning to early fighter aircraft, establishing his career in the nascent field of military aviation. However, a pivotal and deeply complicating moment occurred in 1915. He was captured by Russian forces and interned in a Siberian prison camp for 4 years. In the chaos of the Russian Revolution, Freisler even gained the title of a commissar tasked with organizing the camp's food supplies, an association that would later haunt his career. This time exposed him to revolutionary structures and radical new ideas of warfare. When Nazi Germany began its clandestine rearmament in the 1930s, Student was appointed to a critical role in the new Luftwaffe. Recognizing that air power could be used for far more than just aerial combat, Student became the foremost, tireless advocate for the creation of airborne assault forces, or Fallschirmjäger, hunter paratroopers. He faced immense bureaucratic resistance. He had to navigate the intense inter-service rivalry between the Luftwaffe, led by Hermann Göring, and the traditional army Heer. Student successfully secured control for the Luftwaffe, arguing that the new force was an extension of air power. Under his singular leadership, the Luftwaffe created the 7th Air Division, Germany's first official airborne unit. The training was brutal, focusing on technical skills like parachuting and glider landings, but also on the aggressive Geist, the spirit necessary to fight deep behind enemy lines without immediate support. MIL, the technological coup and strategic proof. Students' revolutionary theories were put to the ultimate test in May 1940. During the invasion of the West, his paratroopers were tasked with an unprecedented assault on Belgium's fortress Eben-Emael. This fortress was considered by the Belgians to be absolutely impregnable, housing 200 well-armed soldiers and guarding the 3 critical bridges. Over the Albert Canal, Student and his team devised a genius, unconventional strategy centered on technological surprise, the innovative use of gliders and a new weapon. The silent approach and glider power. The plan called for just 10 DFS-230 gliders, each carrying a handful of highly trained Fallschirmjäger. These gliders were essential. Unpowered, they descended silently, completely bypassing all traditional ground defenses and allowing the 85-man assault group, led by Oberleutnant Rudolf Witzig, to land directly atop the 175-acre fortress roof. The hollow charge weapon. The assault troops were armed with a highly classified, brand-new weapon, the Hollodung or hollow charge demolition device. This shaped charge technology, marking its first military use, utilized the energy of the explosion to focus a jet of molten metal. The paratroopers used these charges to literally burn a hole through the thick concrete and steel armor, neutralizing the fortress's massive guns from within. On May 10, 1940, the operation commenced. The Belgian defenders, caught entirely off guard by an attack coming from above their heads, found themselves in disarray. Despite being vastly outnumbered, 200 versus 85, the German forces' precise planning, silent delivery, and superior demolition technology paralyzed the defenses. Within hours, the fortress surrendered, securing the crucial Albert Canal crossings for the Blitzkrieg. This swift, cheap victory instantly cemented Student's reputation as a military innovator. The Pyrrhic victory and the shock of losses. The triumph at Eben-Emael only inflated Student's ambitions, leading to his most costly victory, Operation Mercury, the airborne invasion of Crete in May 1941. The operation was Student's most ambitious, involving approximately 22,000 German troops, including 6,500 Fallschirmjäger, with the objective of capturing key airfields. However, the operation quickly devolved into a costly struggle. The element of surprise was completely lost due to captured German invasion plans, allowing the British, Commonwealth, and Greek defenders, numbering around 42,000, to prepare extensive defenses. Tactical and technical failures. As the Fallschirmjäger descended, they were met by a devastating hail of concentrated gunfire. The failures were systemic. Parachute design flaw. The German RZ-1 parachute had a fatal flaw. Connected to a single D-ring, the paratrooper hung vertically, unable to control their direction. They were forced to drop their heavy weapons container first, making them defenseless. Easy targets for the defenders until they reached the ground. Dispersion. Students insisted on deploying troops from high altitude over a wide area, leading to severe dispersion. Many troops landed miles from their objectives, forcing them to fight in small, isolated groups, which negated the intended shock value. The first day was a catastrophe. The German forces suffered approximately 3,700 killed or wounded out of the 22,000 troops involved, a staggering casualty rate. The descent into war crimes. Frustrated by the fierce and unconventional resistance from Allied soldiers and Cretan partisans, student made a direct criminal decision. Under pressure from Göring, he issued orders for severe reprisals against the local civilian population, accusing them of fighting outside the rules of war. These actions included the infamous massacre of Condamari and the razing of Kondanos. These reprisals, resulting in the deaths of approximately 180 innocent civilians, would later form the basis for war crimes charges against student. Despite securing the island, the near failure and the devastating casualties shocked Hitler. He issued a permanent prohibition on future large-scale airborne operations. This decision effectively ended the Fallschirmjäger's role as an independent, strategic strike force, relegating them to conventional infantry duties for the remainder of the war, a profound strategic reversal for student, the later war and the complex legal legacy. Student's career continued, though his command was now focused on conventional warfare. In 1943, he was the chief planner for Operation Oak, Ica, the daring mission to rescue Italian dictator Benito Mussolini from his mountaintop prison. Though the credit often went to SS Commando Otto Skorzeny, it was student's Fallschirmjäger unit that executed the technically complex glider install, short takeoff and landing, and student who received the Oak. Leaves to the Knights Cross for his strategic contribution. After serving as commander of the 1st Parachute Army during the Allied invasion of Normandy in 1944, student was captured by British forces in May 1945. The Lüneburg Trial, 1947, and ethical ambiguity. In 1947, student faced a military tribunal in Lüneburg, Germany. The charges were grave, focusing on the mistreatment and murder of Allied prisoners of war, POWs, and the brutal reprisals against Greek civilians on Crete. The final verdict was controversial. Guilty. Student was found guilty on 3 charges concerning the mistreatment of prisoners. Acquitted. Crucially, he was acquitted of crimes against civilians. The tribunal found the evidence insufficient to prove he had issued the direct, signed command for the massacres, while being geographically distant from the events, highlighting the difficulty in prosecuting high-ranking commanders for atrocities committed by subordinates. He was sentenced to 5 years in prison, a sentence widely considered light, and was released early in 1948 due to medical reasons, having served only 1 year. Global adoption of vertical envelopment. Student success at Eben Emael, and the sheer spectacle of the Crete operation instantly caught the attention of every major world power. His theories proved that highly mobile airborne forces could break the static stalemate of traditional warfare. Post-war military doctrine immediately integrated his concepts. The United States, 1st and 82nd Airborne Divisions and the British Parachute Regiment directly studied and adapted the German airborne tactics, including the mass drop and the concept of seizing key enemy infrastructure. Students' doctrine became the foundational concept for modern, rapid deployment forces worldwide. The end of the strategic parachute assault. Ironically, students' tactical success also served as a clear warning. Crete proved that while airborne forces could seize objectives, the cost of a sustained large-scale parachute assault against a prepared enemy was strategically unacceptable. Following Hitler's ban, no major power ever again attempted an invasion of similar scale using only paratroopers. The subsequent use of Allied airborne forces, such as at Normandy, Operation Overlord and Market Garden, was almost exclusively in direct support of ground forces, utilizing the shock value without risking the total destruction of the unit as a sole spearhead. Student's story is a chilling dichotomy. A brilliant strategist whose tactical genius fundamentally shaped modern combat, yet a commander whose fanatical loyalty led him to authorize horrific acts. His legacy forces us to confront the difficult intersection of military innovation and ethical responsibility, cementing his role not just as a pioneer of airborne warfare, but as a perpetual cautionary tale